Alright, well, welcome back to the channel and the continuation on our bat van. So today what we're going to do is to attempt to install or get functioning our refrigerator. So if you remember, I built the seating, and inside is our cooler refrigerator, and if you watch that video, you'll know that I pretty much insulated that box. So number one thing on the list today is ventilation. We've got to get some air movement through there, because when this cooler kicks on, it's going to generate some heat, so we've got to have a way to evacuate that. And I've got an idea, and I've already started, and if you want to see how I did it, what I'm doing, and the finished product, stick around. Alright, so the first thing I did obviously is I removed the cooler, removed the drawer so I can get access under here, and let me show you what we're doing. So I do have a couple of holes that I've already drilled, and I'll show you what we're doing with the top one, and the bottom one is pretty much an intake. So the top one's going to be exhaust, bottom one is an intake, and I will replace this panel, which is sitting right here, and you'll notice I have a switch here. So why don't we go find out what that's for. Alright, so just kind of shopping around. Man, I want to say it's probably been a year and a half, maybe 2 years. When I purchased this thing, it was 2018, 2019. It's when I built my RV. And I bought this thing, which I never had to use. So anyway, what it is the Valterra, and this is the fridge cool. This is an exhaust fan to extract all the heat that comes from your refrigerators. Generally, I think they use these in the bigger RVs and attach them to the back of their refrigerator to vent the hot air out the side, or the top vent on the roof. But we're going to install that in the back here, and so that's basically just going to go through. This will be the cooler side, and my switches will run the wiring, and then we'll run into some power. And they're recommending, like, this is a 1 amp, so a 1 amp fuse. Hope I can find one of those. I think the smallest I could find was a 2 amp, but we'll see. And it is thermostat controlled, so there's a thermostat right here, and supposedly when it reaches 100 degrees, this thing kicks on and takes out the heat. If for some reason that doesn't work, this is the thermostat. You have a wire on one side, wire on the other side. We'll just disconnect those, wire them straight up, and just basically use the switch on and off. So whenever the refrigerator's running, the fan will run as well. So now I think I've got everything set. I've got my holes drilled, I've got my paneling drilled. Yeah, basically it's installing this, running some wiring, put things back together, turn the refrigerator on. Well, I still have to wire that up. That'll be next. And then oh yeah, might as well talk about that. So what I did is I purchased a dual socket accessory, and took it apart, figured out which one is positive, which one is negative, and we're going to use one of these and tie in our wiring to our house electrical, and then we'll be able to plug this into the cooler, and that should give us power to our cooler. And then I have an extra left over, because I do have another 12 volt cooler that I may or may not use inside. And yeah, so we've got a little bit of wiring to do, and right now we're just gonna get the fan installed, get it working, or at least hooked up. And I don't think we'll be able to test it because it's not 100 degrees in there, it's about 80. So with any luck, we'll get everything wired up, hooked up, put back together, and then we can try that refrigerator out and see if it does reach the operating temperature of our fan, and it kicks on and life is wonderful once again. Okay, so here is where we are at. I have run my wiring, and this is going to go in the box. I'll put the connectors here on the back, and that leaves enough room for the drawer to slide in and out and get that plugged in. I do have the fan installed, and the wiring is kind of strewn all about. So next is to connect our wiring, get it up to our fuse box, and then I know it probably won't come on when I turn it on because, well, it's not 100 degrees, but we will throw that switch once we get everything connected and put the cooler back in here and see if it gets warm enough to throw that fan on. So let me go ahead and get some wires connected and we can put our cooler in. All right, so we do have all of our wiring in. Got these just wired tied through a clamp up here, clamp here, and positive and negative. Right now I just have a 15 amp for the refrigerator. I'll probably drop that down to a 10, and then this 5 amp is for the fan, but I need to get about a 1 amp. So I need to do a little shopping and then replace all these puck light ones with about a 2 amp, and I think we're pretty good to go. So I think what I'm going to do now is button this up, take a look at the fridge, make sure the fridge is friggin'. Okay, so I do have my wire here in the back, and it's trailing over here to a little accessory adapter plugged in. Currently the temp is 51, and I set it down to 42, and it's on eco mode, so we'll just let that run for a while. The switch for, see if I can get you in here. And the switch for our fan is on, so we'll see if that kicks on at some point. So that is going to wrap up our refrigerator. So give that a little while and see if she cools down, and whether or not the box gets hot enough to turn the fan on, which I'm hoping it doesn't, but at least we do have airflow through there, and that'll give it some ventilation. All right, what's our next task? All right, so we did get a couple of things accomplished today. So we did get the wiring and all that good stuff, and the fan, everything for the refrigerator. The refrigerator is hooked up and working. Well, it's not working now. I turned everything off so I could charge the batteries. Between the two batteries, I dropped down to about 34%, and by tomorrow morning this will be back up to 100%. So I just usually kill all the power, throw the charger on, and let it boot up. So once we got the refrigerator done, installed and working, and everything works fine, then the second little makeshift thing that I did is for the sink. I did want to have at least a drain. I don't have running water just yet. That'll be coming up pretty soon. So let me show you what I did here. So I do have one of the 5-gallon water bottles that I took out the center cap. I bought a 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch barb, connected the hose to the drain fitting here, and then I poured a couple pitchers of water in the sink, let it set, see if there's any leaks. No leaks. Everything drained down here, and yep, so that works pretty decent. I don't know, I might just use that for a while. My other tank did arrive today, and so once I figure out how I want to plumb that in, then I'll be able to put that in here and permanently connect the drain to it, and I'll probably do another drain out the side here on a hose with a shut-off switch. That way if I go somewhere, I can just put out the hose, turn the valve, drain the tank, call it good. but that's for another day as well. So that is what we have accomplished today. Alright, so today it's pretty warm. So we got up to, I don't know if you can see that, 91 today. And tomorrow looks like it's going to be 100. So a couple of things I need to get done before we do a road trip. I need to take some stuff out of here. I do have the product over here. I've got my solar panels over there. I'll leave the water tank in. Just clean out a bunch of stuff. And then because I've been building on this thing for quite a while and collect a lot of dust, I think I'm going to fire up the air compressor and give this thing a good hose down. And then we'll take the bedding in, get it washed and dried and put back on. So I don't know why it flies like this place. Anyway, with the doors open, and even though it's in the 90s outside, it's not too bad in here. It's got a nice cross breeze going, so pretty comfortable actually. I could handle that. So with that, I want to say thanks for checking out the video, and if you see something I did wrong, right, whatever, leave a comment, give me a thumbs up, and let me know what you think of the build so far. We still have quite a few things I need to get done on this before it's like totally finished and able to go out and showcase it. Alright, with all that, you know what I'm going to say, don't you? That's right. Stay tuned.